Hey y'all, so in this video, I'm going to be discussing the 2022 Oscars and specifically the altercation that happened between Will Smith and Chris Rock. So, unless you've been living under a rock, everyone knows, everyone is talking about the ordeal where Will Smith walked up onto the Oscar stage while Chris Rock was presenting an award, and he slapped Chris Rock for a joke that Chris told about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, the joke was somewhat to the effect of, "Hey Jada, love you, can't wait for G.I. Jane 2." And in that joke, Chris Rock was referencing Jada Pinkett's shaved head and comparing it to when Demi Moore had a shaved head in G.I. Jane when Demi Moore was preparing to fight. So after Chris Rock told his joke, here's the thing now. Everyone laughed, including Will Smith. However, you could visibly see that Jada did not like the joke. She had an expression on her face that showed she did not like it and she rolled her eyes. But I want to make this clear that Will Smith himself laughed at the joke. Now, when Will saw that Jada did not like the joke, only then is when he got up out of his seat, walked on stage, and proceeded to slap Chris Rock in the face. And then walked back to his seat like he didn't just do that. Then, when he got back to his seat, he proceeded to yell up at Chris Rock on the stage and said, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth." And Chris Rock was like, it was a G.I. Jane joke. And then Will Smith said again, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth." Everybody was stunned about this because it just didn't make sense. Will Smith was laughing at the joke. He thought it was funny, just like everybody else. So when he got out of his seat and walked to the stage and did what he did, people thought it was a joke. Like, people thought it was part of an act that they were putting on at the Oscars. It was only when he started yelling obscenities, saying "keep his wife's name out of your effing mouth," did people realize, oh man, he's serious. Did he just do that? He's serious. And that's when we realized, okay, this is a problem. So I do want to give context here and say that back in 2016, when Chris Rock hosted the Oscars, he also made a joke that referenced Jada then. This was back during the Oscars So White situation where the Smiths in particular, but in addition to other people, were saying that, there weren't any people of color nominated. And they came up with this phrase, "Oscars So White," and then they decided to boycott. Well, Chris Rock at the Oscar stage when he was the host back then made a joke about, well, they're boycotting, but Jada Pinkett is just like, me as far as Rihanna's panties. She wasn't invited. And so that was a joke that he made back in 2016 that included Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, I also wanted to say that Jada Pinkett Smith shaved her head because she suffers from alopecia. Alopecia is a condition that causes your hair to fall out. And she has been open about that. She's talked about it on her social media, she's talked about it on her show. So I do understand how that joke may have made her feel. Not may have, it made her feel a type of way. However, that is not to say that Chris Rock knew that Jada had alopecia. There were numerous people that came out to say they didn't even know that Jada was suffering from alopecia. And, people are like, well, that's why you shouldn't talk about people's appearance. You shouldn't talk about the way someone looks. You never know, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, Chris Rock, number one, is a comedian. Number two, Chris Rock knows the Smiths. Number three, they were not the only people that Chris Rock talked about. Now, granted, people are saying, well, he didn't talk about anyone else's appearance, but he was not referencing Jada's appearance to make fun of her because she had alopecia. He was referencing Jada's appearance and comparing her to G.I. Jane, which, if you've seen G.I. Jane, the joke was dated, okay? G.I. Jane came out in the 90s. If you've seen G.I. Jane, G.I. Jane was a badass. She was great. So for Jada to take it like that, and then for Will Smith to laugh and then all of a sudden switch like somebody pressed some type of button and go up there and assault, because let's be clear, that was assault. Will Smith assaulted Chris Rock on live television. People from around the world were watching the Oscars, and Will Smith committed a crime on live television, a violent one. And I want to give a shout out to Chris Rock for the way that he handled the situation, because that could have gotten ugly. Had Chris Rock retaliated in that moment, that could have gotten really ugly. You would have had a full brawl on the Oscar stage. But Chris Rock, he took the hit, he held his own, he stood up there, and when everything was over, he carried on presenting the award. So, one of the things about this that just doesn't make sense to me is how Will Smith was even allowed to stay in the arena after he committed a crime in front of the world like that. And then, less than an hour later, he would go on to win his first Oscar and then get on stage and cry after he just assaulted someone. He got on stage and cried like a victim and said that King Richard would do this and protect black women and protect his girls. And he named a few people from the film that played Venus and Serena and that played their mother in the film. And he talked about how God has called him for to be a bridge for people and to love people. And he had this weird speech about love and God and protection. But what I don't understand is how you input God into something like that. God is not gonna tell you to go up and commit sin. That's not how God works. And then after he committed the assault, after the Oscars were over, him and Jada and everyone else went and they partied like nothing happened. Even after his speech, he got a standing ovation, a round of applause, like nothing happened. And I'm just shaking my head at that because I don't understand if people realize the magnitude of what happened. The LAPD even got involved, and Chris Rock decided not to press charges. But at the end of the day, for there to be something for him to press charges against, let us know that what happened was wrong. You do not violently strike somebody because of what they said, because you don't like what they said, because your wife doesn't like what they said. Now, had he just yelled up on the stage, keep my wife's name out of your mouth, to Chris Rock, I would have been okay with that. Or had he pulled him aside or said something afterwards or caught him backstage, I would have been okay with that. But for you to get up and be violent towards that man who did nothing to you, who really did nothing to your wife, was ridiculous. And we have to think about what type of night this was. The Academy Awards are a night of excellence and elegance. It is for people whose work has been acknowledged and for people who are hoping to win awards for all of their acting and their supporting acting and things that they've done over the past year. This was a historical event because not only did you have three women hosting, two of them were black. You had Will Packard, who was a black man who was the producer of the show. You had a person who was deaf win an Oscar. You had Asians, you had Latinas, you had black people, including Will Smith himself, to win their first Oscars. Questlove won an Oscar. This was one of the most diverse Oscars ceremonies, one of the most Academy Award shows that we have ever seen. And instead of remembering it for the great night of inclusion and diversity and good talent that it was, the one thing that we are all going to be talking about for the next 10, 20, 30 years is, remember in 2022 when Will Smith got on stage and slapped Chris Rock. Venus and Serena Williams couldn't even really enjoy their moment about a film that was about them, their dad, their family, their journey. They couldn't even enjoy that because the person who starred in the movie did something so selfish, so unhinged, and so deplorable that it took the attention away from them, from everybody who worked hard and deserved to be there. It took that attention from them to Will Smith's ignorance. Now, here we are a few days later, and the situation has calmed down a little bit, but people are still talking about this. And I do feel like they'll be talking about it well into the next week. Since the Oscars, Will Smith has come out to apologize. And Chris Rock has also come out to apologize. But I want to address a few things because there are a few narratives going around that just don't make sense to me. And I want to start with black women. So I am a black woman and I am seeing this coming from black women. I am seeing people say, yeah, that's what he was supposed to do. Protect his black queen, protect his wife, protect black women. That's what he's supposed to do, protect black women. And let me tell you, black women, number one, you're wrong. He was not protecting black women. He was protecting Jada. Number two, he wasn't even protecting Jada because Jada was in no imminent danger. Jada had not been threatened. Now, if you want to say he was defending her when he told Chris Rock to stop talking about her, then cool, I'll give you that. But to use the word protection, no, he wasn't protecting anybody. There was nothing to protect. And if there was anything to protect, it was his ego. But we'll get to that later. But black women, I want you to be very careful about saying that Will Smith is a representation of what it looks like to protect black women, because see, that's going to leave you in trouble. It's going to leave you lonely. You cannot expect every man, and let's be clear, black men ain't doing this anyways, but the ones who will protect black women, you cannot expect for them to get up and put hands on somebody just because someone said something that you don't like, just because someone said something that offended you. You cannot expect for them to do that, because what's going to happen? Listen, everybody ain't Will Smith. If your man put his hands on somebody simply because they said something to you, your man is going to go to jail. And now you're going to be out here by yourself with no protection. Black women, I want you to be careful with what you are saying online and with what you are deeming as protection. It's dangerous and it's ignorant. The next thing that I want to address is this notion that people are spreading to say that, well, Chris Rock has been coming for Jada for years. He has been building up this thing with Jada. He has something against Jada and he's been doing it for years. And I just want to know, what are y'all talking about? Like, what are you guys talking about? Now, I already mentioned the joke that referenced Jada back in 2016. So 2016, it's 2022 now. So 2016 was 6 years ago. So that was one joke 6 years ago. We are now in 2022. So within a 6 year time span, he has referenced her in two jokes in 6 years. How is that coming for her? How is that bullying her? How is that mistreating her? How is that a build-up of some sort? It's not. How are you guys going to use that to justify Will Smith's actions? There is no justification. Let me put things in perspective for you. How many times do you think people have told jokes about Gabourey Sidibe over the last 6 years? How many times do you think people have told jokes about Wendy Williams over the last 6 years? How many times do you think people have told jokes about Leslie Jones over the last 6 years? How many times do you think people have told jokes about Serena Williams over the last 6 years? I can guarantee you it was more than twice. And ain't nobody, whether those women have husbands or not, put their hands on anybody because of something that was verbally said against those women. So, how do you justify this situation? It doesn't make sense. Another thing that I want to address is the emasculinization or demasculinization of Will Smith. A lot of people are saying that, well, Jada emasculated him, and the smack that he gave to Chris Rock was a smack to everybody that's been disrespecting him. And he talked about disrespect in his speech, and he felt some type of way, and he just took it all out on Chris Rock. I just want to say this. Most of the things that people talk about or make fun of or make memes about when it comes to the Smith family are things that they have revealed about themselves. They get online and they tell their own business. Jada has a whole show, Red Table Talk. The Entanglement came out on that show. Will wrote a book about feeling like he was a coward. They tell their own business and they put things out there and get mad or feel some type of way when people have something to say, have some commentary about what they've put out there in the atmosphere. If you don't think you're going to like what people got to say about what you're saying, then maybe you shouldn't say it. Will Smith is emasculated because Will Smith emasculated himself. Him doing what he did to Chris Rock shows that he is in fact the coward that he always thought he was. Because see, where I'm from, if you were to do something like that, first of all, if you gonna fight a man or if you gonna put your hands on a man, it ain't no sneaking up on them or catching them off guard. If you gonna fight, you gonna fight. You don't just catch somebody off guard when they're not expecting it and then walk away like you're some type of masculine macho man. That's not how it works. At least not where I'm from. Now maybe Philly people are different. I'm not from Philly, so I don't know. But where I'm from, you're a man if you fight man to man, one on one. Not catching people off guard, not sneaking one in. You're a man when you fight, not slap, fight with your fists man to man. Him doing that emasculated him. Furthermore, with all of the other things that we know about Will Smith, there are so many other things that have emasculated Will Smith because he chose to reveal that information. He chose to sit at the red table and let Jada put out there that she was so unhappy when it came to him, that he was not satisfying her when they were together, when they were having their issues when the August Alsina and entanglement thing came about, that she just wanted to feel again. She the one put it out there like he wasn't doing his job. And so that's why she went looking somewhere else. He allowed that information to be out there. He put it out there with his, because let me tell you something. He knew that it was being recorded and it was going on the Red Table Talk, so you must have had agreed to put it out there. You can't then say, oh, well, that's what emasculated him. Jada emasculated him. No, Will Smith did. Will Smith is a grown man. It's the same as what I feel about his reaction at the Oscars, where people are saying, well, Jada gave him that look and Jada rolled her eyes and she must have said something. Listen, I don't give a dog on what Jada said to him. Will Smith is a grown man. At 52, 53 years old, Will Smith is grown. Okay? If anybody has that much control over you to make you go up there and commit a crime in front of live television just because of what somebody said, then you've already emasculated yourself, because a man stands 10 toes down. A man does what a man does. Not to say that you don't listen to your spouse, but you have discernment. You have discernment. You know when something is good and you know when something is bad. You know right from wrong, especially in your 50s. Y'all not gonna tell me that Will went up there and did that because Jada told him to. Will went up there and did that because Will Smith wanted to. He even talked about in his speech taking the disrespect and, people playing with you. And yeah, in this business, you got to roll with the punches, but, the disrespect. And listen, people are going to treat you how you allow them to treat you. People are going to treat you according to what you put out there. You allow the very person in your household to kind of sort of disrespect you. Now, the reason why I said kind of sort of is because I don't know what type of agreement they have in their marriage. Okay, we all know about the open relationship rumors and the swingers rumors and all this stuff. But if doing those things in turn makes you look like you less than a man, and what you really crave is to look like a man, then maybe you shouldn't do those things. Will. Or if you're going to do those things, if you're going to be swingers and have an open relationship and allow your woman to mess with whoever she mess with, well, not allow, she's grown as well. But if y'all are going to have this agreement that that's what y'all going to do, then maybe you should keep it to yourselves. And not only keep it to yourselves, watch who you guys are both messing with, because see, that's how Jada got in trouble, because the person who she was messing with had a big mouth. And so I'm not going to hold y'all long talking about this situation, but I do want to say that the people, most of the people that I've seen to also present commentary on this, whether it was Steve Harvey, Shannon Sharp, Ricky Smiley, Jim Carrey. Now Jim Carrey said a mouthful in a short amount of time. He said that he was disgusted, and as was I. He said that if he was Chris Rock the next morning, he would have announced that he was suing Will Smith, as would I. And so I agree with that. I agree with everything that people are saying. And I hope that, listen, I don't know what the consequence should be, because he done already got up there. He was allowed to get on stage, stay in the room, accept his reward, and cry and do all these things. But there should be consequences to his actions. And if they aren't going to take consequences and chastise him for doing what he did and being violent on that stage, then Chris Rock does need to take it into his own hands. I mean, and he really doesn't even need a police report as proof or as anything to support his claim. We all saw it. So if he wanted to sue Will Smith, he could sue Will Smith, and in my opinion, he should sue Will Smith, because that footage of that man slapping Chris Rock is going to be out there forever. He's never going to be able to live that down. It's never going away. His children's children will see that, and that is humiliating, and that is embarrassing. Particularly because I personally feel like Will Smith knew that he would be able to do what he did and not have any repercussions because of where they were. They were at the Oscars. He knew Chris Rock, first of all, is smaller than him, and second of all, he was not going to become unprofessional like Will Smith had become unprofessional. And because of that, if I were Chris Rock, oh, I'd get mine. It ain't enough for my shows to just sell out, because I've heard that Chris Rock's comedy shows are now selling out because he's going on tour. He'll be on tour with Kevin Hart. That ain't enough. Oh, I want more. If I'm gonna have to live down with this humiliation for the rest of my life, oh, you gonna pay me for the rest of my life, because it was uncalled for. It was uncalled for, period. And I also want to say, despite what Will Smith has gone through in his life, despite the abuse that he witnessed by his father to his mother, despite what people have been saying online because of the information that him and his wife put out there about their transgressions, their entanglement, their open relationship, whatever it was, despite that, it really does not mean that Will Smith should have gotten up there and done what he did. Will Smith needs therapy. Will Smith is a punk. Will Smith is a coward. And Will Smith, I am not here to talk about toxic masculinity, nor am I here to evaluate or diagnose Will Smith. His mental capacity, his trauma, or anything that he's gone through. I am here to just say right is right and wrong is wrong. And Will Smith was wrong. He was wrong. If he's been feeling some type of way, if his wife has made him feel some type of way about not being man enough or not being macho enough or not protect, whatever the case is, we all know that their situation is toxic. I do not feel sorry for Will Smith because people are saying that Jada emasculated him. No, she did not. Will Smith is a grown man. And quite frankly, in this situation, I'm going to treat this situation like everybody online treats, especially black women. When we're in situations where things are toxic or when things don't go right, they tell us to choose better. So that's exactly what I'm going to say about Will Smith. Will Smith should have chose better. If Jada is that bad, ain't nobody forcing Will Smith to stay with Jada. He should have chose better. He can still choose better, but he is choosing not to. Again, he's a grown man. I don't feel sorry for that grown man. He should have chose better. And as far as the joke that Chris Rock made being the tipping point or the boiling point or the straw that broke the camel's back, well, that camel must have had a weak ass back. Because I'm going to tell you, out of all of the things that we've heard about the Smiths, if a G.I. Jane joke was the straw that broke the camel's back, we got a problem. Or, shoot, I ain't got no problem. He got a problem. Because over the years, let's be clear, we've heard a lot of things about the Smiths. From the open relationships, to people talking about their children, to the entanglement, to the sexuality rumors, to people comparing his wife to R. Kelly, who is a grape juicer, okay? Out of all of those things, and a G.I. Jane joke is the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't people talking about your children. It wasn't people calling your wife an abuser. It was a G.I. Jane joke that broke the camel's back? Nah. I ain't going. I don't believe it. It doesn't make sense. Use your brains, people. Will Smith has some deep issues. And he needs to be reprimanded for what he's done, because he is too connected. He is too rich. He has too many resources to not take the time to sort out his issues. There is no excuse. If I'm going to say that about Kanye, I got to say it about Will Smith. They got too many resources not to get themselves together. All right, so that's all I want to say about this. I want you guys to let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think Will Smith was justified in doing what he did? Do you think Chris Rock should not have or should have told the joke that he told? He is a comedian, but then again, Jada Smith does have alopecia. Tell me what you think down below in the comment section. Let me know what you think, and I'll get back with you guys in the next video.